1 second. Come on, Telegram. Sorry, I'm just waiting for Telegram to stick. I don't seem to be able to get Telegram to connect. I'm trying again. There we go. Okay. Good morning, America. Hope you're well. Welcome. It's the last day of September, and it's the last session for the month. And going into October, tomorrow there will be some disruptions because I'm traveling to America to give some talks. I've been trading both my accounts. I had a very bad morning, and interestingly, if you notice the entry in the FTSE, which I'll show you here, what's interesting about this is that level there at 9287, that is where the 5-minute bar, first bar negative, kicked in at 9285, and I actually decided, okay, I'm gonna be a buyer of that. I think I bought it at 1022, so that would be here. I bought it here at this line here. I had a stop loss about 10 points away, and it sort of just began to run and run and run. Because I was out, I didn't add to it, but I think also the advantage that I didn't see it was that I wasn't tempted to take profit at the top end of the range or anything like that, so I just let it run, and now I got a really good position on. But I have been trading other positions as well, and quite actively so. But I have taken the funds out of the account, so that what you see there reflects the account position when I left streaming this morning, when I had a really crappy morning with the DAX and also interestingly with the FTSE. And you see this this mess down here. This is on a 15-minute chart. It's even worse on a 5-minute chart. I was well and truly stuck in this horrible mess. There you go. That was my morning. But then the market actually began to come out of that trend after I had stopped streaming and started trending really well, as you can see. Okay, so we got the Nasdaq printing a first bar negative, and we are coming down to the low end of the overnight range. Interesting to see what. So it's interesting to see here that my swing position in the Nasdaq is actually almost at a break even now, whilst the DAX is certainly going in the other direction. I won't be trading with you tomorrow afternoon. For the US, I may trade in the morning. Unfortunately, I have, well, I don't actually know what I've done to my shoulder, but I have a feeling that something inside has been severely injured, because I've gone from being, all right, I got a bit of a shoulder pain too. I got these sensations down towards the end of my fingers of, yeah, there's definitely some nerve issue, whether it's a frozen shoulder or whatever it may be. But it's deeply unpleasant and it's very painful. So I can't do my normal pull-ups, push-ups. So many things I can't do, which puts even more pressure on the diet, because you don't want to put on you don't want to put on weight either. But if you can't burn, all you can really do is cardio and maybe leg work. Squats, great, but I can't do any upper body work. So I'm tempted to be a buyer in the FTSE, sorry, in the Dow, because we are making it back up above the overnight range, and the first 10 minutes was exceptionally bullish. If I did that, I would have a stop loss, maybe not all the way down here, but partly. Stand by for a long position in the Dow. I'm buying the Dow here around 10. Bought the Dow around 46,310. We do have some news coming out at 3. So buyers are stepping in the Nasdaq. They'll be happy now. Buying below 32, it went as low as 18. I'm doubling up on my Dow at 37. Dow reversed at the top of the overnight range, took out the prior bar high on the 15. My stop loss on the first position has just been taken out. I lost 300 in that. Took out my stop loss by 5 points. Nasdaq is down, testing the lower 4 here on 5. So what do you put most emphasis on? The first negative candle, on the rebound on 3. I think I'd like to be a buyer of the Nasdaq here at 44. Buying below prior bar low at 24,545. So I'm a buyer below prior bar low, betting that we did a test of the overnight range low and then we're pushing higher. I want to be a buyer of the DAX as well. Here around 23,800. So I got a long position in the DAX betting on the continuation of the trend, buying below prior bar lows. I have an existing in the FTSE. Trying to find a low in the Nasdaq, buying below bar number 4, which is the first retracement. So far, not happening. And I'm going to add to my Dow here. Bit of a bummer, I got stopped out, but there you go. I have to accept that. Nasdaq is not performing, as you can see. I've actually been stopped out of the Nasdaq. Bloody hell, that is a tough going for me. See here, I had a stop loss at 510. It just, so far, it hit 509.25. I do have to be careful that this isn't a grand reversal day today, which does what I would struggle to understand because of how strong the DAX is and how strong the FTSE is. But, you know, stop is a stop. Right, well, the DAX is retracing quite deeply. So we're coming up to the completion of the second 15-minute bar, which means that I want to be long in the Dow above 355. I'm going to put an order in around 349. Okay, so I'm filled again in the Dow, so now I'm 300% long Dow. I don't know if you're keeping an eye on the DAX, but it's a fairly deep retracement, isn't it? And much annoying to me, my stop loss in the Nasdaq was triggered, and well, you can see for yourself what I've done. I've lost here. So it's a really big losing day for me. Now I've got to put my faith in the Dow. So we got 1 minute left of the second 15-minute bar, which would set up a school run long. I don't know if you're aware of this, but there's some news coming out. So got a really good Dow trade going. As you can see. So the Dow has triggered a school run long at 365 high. I can add to that here. So I'm buying the Dow again. So Nasdaq is going to trigger a school run long at 83. And the DAX is just recovering. Oh no, that's not good in the Dow. That's exactly what I just saw in the DAX. going to be quiet for a minute or two. Well, that's a deep retracement. Wouldn't even call that a retracement. DAX is reversing. Nasdaq is reversing. That's a really big loss I'm sat on. I'm looking at the DAX. So is that rebounding? Or is it breaking down? Now the Dow is actually triggering a short signal in school run. I got my stop losses down here. Or is it the anti setting up? Obviously I can't add to it. Have no interest in adding to a losing trade. This does not look good, ladies and gentlemen. Got stop losses coming in at 52, 50, there you go. Don't really see the point in having this one here. I'm going to close this position here, and then I'm going to take a screenshot of this so you can see for yourself how much I lost, which was a lot. Bloody hell. Question is, do I go in the opposite direction now? Are we going to see a breakdown here? I'm going to flip the switch carefully and shorting the school run short here. 275, I got in at 265, 269. I think I'm going to close my stop loss in the DAX will take care of that. I'll have to accept that. Nasdaq, strange price action, but I'm trying to get a sort of gauge of what is going to happen from here onwards, because the Dow looked so bullish up there and then we had a really strong reversal. You know that point where the Dow was loss 800 or 900, you know how the mind goes back to that place and it says, oh God, I wish I'd taken profit there. You know, stop loss is a stop loss, but it is painful to see how your 400% long position gets stopped out near the lows around 256. I think my stop losses were 252, and now it's climbing. Over in the Nasdaq, I think I would be a seller if we break below bar number 3, which is at 24,524. I'm pretty close to being stopped out in the Dow again here. If that was to happen, which it is, as is it, I'm done. I'm going to give a complete posting of my losses, because that's only fair. But my aggressiveness didn't serve me well today, quite the contrary. So here's a complete inventory of the losses. I have a DAX position still running, and I got a stop loss in place for that. Ladies and gentlemen, too much I've lost today. I'm calling it for me, no more. Sorry about that. I did what I do, and it certainly blew up in my face today. So thanks a lot for witnessing that, but I am out of here. You take care of yourself. Stay strong. Thank you. Bye-bye.